We recently talked about 100% completion in Black Ops 6 multiplayer, offering up a guide on every single challenge within the game. And one of the things that does not count towards that 100% completion, but still is a grind many people may want to go after, is 100% completion for Dark Ops in multiplayer, which tasks you with completing 15 of the existing 23 challenges in the multiplayer portion of Dark Ops. So that is correct. To get 100% completion and the Mastery Calling Card, you do not need to get every single challenge done, which is definitely nice because some of them are still busted to this day. But in this video, we're gonna be running down tips on how to get that Mastery Calling Card if you're interested in Dark Ops completion. Drop your thoughts as we go along. Want to see a Zombies Dark Ops Mastery Guide? Maybe Warzone? Let me know. We can get on that. But if you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. Maybe share it with a friend and consider subscribing for more guides for Black Ops 6 and other FPS content. I'd love to have it in the community. But for now, let's get into it. So let's start out with the beginning here. Multiplayer Dark Ops, the first couple of challenges are actually pretty simple in the grand scheme of things. You have Frenzy Killer, Mega Killer, Ultra Killer, and Chain Killer. Each of these task you to earn a Frenzy, Mega, Ultra, or Kill Chain. These being 5, 6, 7, and more than 7 rapid kills. So could be 8, could be 9, could be 10. But all of these are easiest in hardcore face-off. With Stakeout 24/7 in play, you can probably get all these done, not in a single match, but like, you kind of get what I'm saying here with this, where it's very fast. I know that these were some of the earliest challenges that I completed of all the challenges in multiplayer because I was just grinding weapon levels and camo grinding within the first weekend of the game's launch. I genuinely think within the first weekend, I had all 4 of these. Just make sure you rush spawns and you're able to get them. If I'm not mistaken though, they're not all like retroactive. Like if you get the Kill Chain medal first, you'd get the Kill Chain calling card, but not the Frenzy, Mega, and Ultra Killer challenges, despite the fact that you have to pass those up in their criteria along the way to Kill Chains. But you do have to do those individually. The next set of challenges are Relentless, Brutal, and Nuclear Killers. These task you with earning 20 kills without dying, 25 kills without dying, and 30 kills without dying. These all come in time, but honestly, the easiest ways to do these are with a squad, or honestly, the easiest way when it's around is infected, but also holding some power positions in regular maps as well, patrolling hard points, domination points, other areas of high foot traffic. That's something that can definitely contribute to that. Obviously, you're gonna have more and more people gunning for you when they realize, hey, this guy is just overlooking B the entire time or something like that. I know that my only nuke in this game came when I was in a 6-man stack on Nuketown, so playing with friends definitely helps. We were controlling the spawns, everyone had a UAV and a harp, so you always had that information on where the next player was coming from, and then at that point, it's just a matter of making sure you didn't put yourself into a bad position. You didn't go running into the enemy spawn where there's more than 1, 2, or 3 people looking at you at a time. Taking a one-on-one gunfight with the information on where everybody is, you can end up getting 20, 25, and 30 kills with absolute ease. But this is where we start to turn towards the tougher challenges in these, where the Nuked Out challenge is the next one in relation to kills. You have to earn a nuke in free-for-all without using score streaks. This one, I haven't done this challenge since Black Ops 3, if I'm remembering correctly, just because it's an absurdly annoying challenge to begin with, but Black Ops 6, it's so much more annoying because while you're not aided by things like a hand cannon that can move the needle on the counted kill streak, you can't use score streaks at all. So that means you can't use a recon pulse, UAV, or harp. None of that stuff can help you out. You have to go in blind and basically in a vanilla state here where you don't touch anything in relation to your score, meaning it's got to be 30 kills unaided by anything. Then the tougher and probably toughest Dark Ops challenge in this entire game is the Very Nuclear challenge, which there's an asterisk on this one here. It's the toughest challenge we see every single year, the way matchmaking works in the last couple of years for sure. And it's even tougher now because, well, it was bugged before. Full transparency, this one, I got it because it was bugged. Wasn't my choice, but it was something that just happened. While the challenge requires 25 nukes with 25 different guns, for the first 2 months of the game, you only needed to end up getting 30 kills in a single match with 25 different guns. Not a 30 kill streak with 25 different guns, just 30 altogether. So if you were grinding camos or weapon levels like I was when this was bugged, you likely got it because you progressed enough of those weapons to end up getting 30 kills in a domination match or something. Like if you're playing hardcore domination, that is something that is very easy to obtain. So that's how I have it. It was of course bugged. Going for this altogether, well, good luck. That one is one that's just going to take a lot of time. You're going to have to plan a lot of 6-mans and hopefully just be balling out the entire time. Of course, that is if you don't reverse boost, which for most people that complete this after this was fixed in this matchmaking economy, there might be a little bit of an asterisk on how you end up getting that. 2 birds, 1 stone. You have to earn a collateral medal, which is killing multiple uninjured enemies in the same shot outside of hardcore. So that does not mean you can go in and just one bullet somebody with an AR. Has to be something like a marksman rifle or a sniper rifle here. And honestly, this is something that's entirely situational. It's very random and something that isn't something you can have a lot of tips for, but the only thing that I'd recommend is to try and go for it for specific maps, sometimes specific modes. Maps with sort of skinny lines of sight can be very beneficial here. The one that obviously comes to my mind first and foremost is Stakeout. Those long hallways, you can end up having multiple people that will oftentimes try and run around that corner, and you can get 2 kills with 1 shot. Sometimes you'll end up just getting somebody that runs in front of your shot while you're shooting at somebody on the kitchen counter. So there's definitely a random aspect to it, but things like Lifeline can be beneficial. The upper portions of Bounty overlooking the hanging light fixtures you can jump on top of. Nuketown's side spawn lanes you can end up getting a decent go at. A lot of this, though, unfortunately, is just straight up situational, so sometimes you'll get it like I did, where it's just in the middle of a match on Warhead, where those things don't apply at all. Accidentally on Purpose is a challenge that requires you to kill an enemy with an environmental hazard. This one requires you to get a kill with like a car explosion or something like that. So this can be done with grenades, streaks like the Archangel or Hellstorm or something like that, where it's kind of like the collateral damage of what happens with that explosion of the streak and others. But the more explosive areas, the better, obviously. Maps like Dealership, Extraction, Hacienda, Nuketown's a great one if you play Domination for B flag and the first hill and Hardpoint. You can blow up those cars as you go for those. Red Card, Rewind, and Vault. All of those have, of course, a couple of explosive areas that players will end up gravitating towards for either cover behind those cars or whatever the case may be. I got mine done on Vault. The Jeep spawns that'll be on that street side there. Just chucked a grenade at somebody that was on one of those Jeep headies, and I ended up getting that in the first few days the game was live. Return to Sender requires a kill on an enemy by throwing back the frag grenade they threw at you. This one is frankly like 90% luck and timing. If you want to go for it passively, just put yourself into high traffic areas and modes like Hardpoint where grenades will be thrown at you, and you'll just have to make sure that, oh, when that icon comes up, make sure you throw it back. But if you're like going for this challenge, I'd recommend fast hands to extend the fuse timers on grenades, and then play things like 10v10 hardpoint and hope you get smaller maps like Babylon and do the same. Consciously look for those icons and put yourself in those high traffic areas, but make sure you equip your loadout accordingly to give you the best chance there. Circus Act, you have to earn a bank shot medal, which is killing an enemy by banking the combat axe off a surface. When it's around, you can get this in no time with Infected. Most of the time, players are going to group up and you can kind of just chuck them in that area. One of my favorites for this challenge in particular and getting bank shot medals is in Nuketown, because oftentimes people will go to that back garden with the white fencing spawn and then just group up around there. So you can throw it at the walls and it will just be a condensed area that you'll likely get one bouncing off of that. But even if not, you'll still probably get a kill to progress your team from taking down the non-infected players. Not to mention, infected does not count towards your stats, so you don't damage your KD, win-loss, or any of that kind of stuff if you care about it. So just start chucking these bad boys from the get-go, but it's nice because, again, everyone clusters together and infected beyond that. Not to mention, infect is also great for the combat axe kills you need towards 100%er, but we already talked about that in our guide earlier in the week. Ace is a challenge that requires 4 ace medals, which requires you to kill every enemy in a round of search and destroy with minimum 4 enemies. This doesn't seem like a lot, but it's something that, if done organically, can be done over time. It just might take you a little bit of time because teammates are often going to steal 1 or 2 of those kills. But if you want to do it the fastest way possible, going for it, you're going to want to play in just a party and let your teammates not kill. Just scout for where enemies are, but don't have them get the kills. The only caveat with this is that it needs to be a team wipe, like all players, not just 4 players to count as an ace medal, something that I'm surely not the only one who read that incorrectly when I first saw this earlier in the year, but it's just not 4 kills or more in a round. It's all kills on the enemy team, but only counts if there's 4 or more players on that enemy team. So just bear that in mind. Go Long requires a long-range combat axe kill, Semtex kill, or drill charged stick. For this, there's a few maps that are pretty solid, but the definition of a long-range kill appears to be 50 meters, so long as you have that in your line of sight or over a building, if you can chuck it like that, you have the opportunity to do this, which things like the 75 and 100 meters for the moonshot medals you need for the squint test challenge, that's where it starts to get sort of problematic in those distances. But for long lines of sight on Extraction, Vault, Nuketown, and a few others, it's possible. And again, easiest to do in Infected, but if you don't want to wait, regular modes still work well on those maps. Double Trouble, you have to kill both enemies in gunfight with a single shot or explosion. And this is either dumb luck or you can ask for help in game chat. kind of boosting it, yeah, but with the random nature of gunfight class setups, it's a random chance you even get the opportunity to try it, and then random chance to either get a collateral or double explosive kill to begin with. So you can test your luck a bit, or maybe find some chill dudes in game chat willing to help out. Hard Breakup, you have to perform 7 finishing moves in a single match. This one's tough no matter what way you spin it, just for timing's sake. Like, the longest you can get games to go is like 12 or 13 minutes if you're really consciously managing your time in domination or hardpoint. And usually if you have a team here, most of the time you're not going to end up getting random teammates that will make it a 250 to 249 game. But I'd recommend things like the stun grenades, ghost and ninja perk sets, and perhaps the sleeper agent field upgrade to be even more concealed. Gonna be frustrating, gonna take some time, but it's definitely possible. And then finally, of the sort of, I'd say, standard challenges, blunt trauma, you have to kill an enemy with a direct impact of a smoke. This one's interesting because a smoke grenade does like 1 to 2 damage per hit. Like if you direct impact somebody, it will do damage, but not even close to a lot. What I recommend is taking an SMG into hardcore, putting it into semi-auto mode so you can shoot 1 bullet at a time, tag a player, and then chuck the stun at them. Might be easiest to do in hardcore stakeout just because you're always around an enemy and you have a better chance of like banking it off something if you miss. But there's plenty of players that will just also sit on balconies or at the kitchen counters that you can quick tap them and then throw the grenade at them. For quicker use, fast hands and gung-ho while on the move help to speed that up. So just bear that in mind. But those are your like sort of normal challenges. The next ones here that we'll talk about are endurance challenges. Stuff that isn't necessarily hard, but just takes a long time to complete for consciously going for these. So frankly, the best tips that I can give are just play the game. To start, an easy one for you, Dark Indeed, a challenge that only requires dark matter camo to be unlocked, but on 33 different weapons. It doesn't have to be the original weapons, it can be any 33, so as time goes on and you work towards challenges completing more and more, it's even easier. Just by doing the extra rifles currently, you can skip the melees or the launchers. If you do both the new rifles and the SMGs as of right now, you can skip either both of the melees and launchers, the entirety of the sniper, marksman, shotgun, or LMG categories, and so on. Next, Hit Job requires 100 finishing moves, so if you're somebody that's going for that thing like Hard Breakup to perform 7 in a single match, you might get this sooner rather than later, but if you don't care for that one, it might just take you quite a bit of time to consciously remember, I gotta go for 100 of these things. And then 100K, you have to get 100,000 eliminations, which takes a long time in terms of gameplay. For context, I have Dark Matter, 100% completion for multiplayer, 100% Dark Ops completion, though not all of them done, of course. Most of my mastery badges done, and I'm working on the Optics mastery. I only end up having 35,000 eliminations with 5.5 days of playtime. So to get 100,000 is gonna take a lot of grinding and a lot of high kill games. So just know that that one probably a little further out on the to-do list for completion, but it is something you'll end up getting in time. Now, that said, that's only 20 of the 22 challenges we've mentioned. The unfortunate part is there are still 2 that are broken. 2 hardcore for hardcore, which is 10 kills without dying 1 time in hardcore, and then Buzzsaw, which is earning 10 triple kill medals, which is 3 rapid kills or better in hardcore. Both of these are rather simple, but have been bugged since the game's launch. I've done these at least both, like 5 times over. Grinding everything out in hardcore for weapons and camos, it's something that I should have had these a long time ago, same with so many other people, and if you look for like the subreddits, any answers to this, everybody will be saying the same thing, that it's still broken. I'm hoping that at Season 2 Reloaded, especially with a focus on challenge fixes in Season 2's launch, that we'll see another round of fixes here, but for the time being, just know that they're not quite fixed yet, but when they are, you can get these pretty much just by simply playing, and it's a relatively easier challenge compared to some of the other ones we've talked about. And then finally, when you end up completing, again, 15 of these Dark Ops challenges, you'll end up getting multiplayer Dark Ops 100% and that animated mastery calling card that not a lot of players will end up having. So that is how to master Dark Ops in Black Ops 6 multiplayer. Let me know your thoughts down below. Is there anything in particular you would add to this list in terms of tips? Any you found particularly easy, tough, whatever the case, drop your thoughts. But if you guys enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, you learned a thing or two here from this, drop a like, and of course, make sure to subscribe for more Black Ops 6 and other FPS guides and coverage I'd love to have in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.